Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Snaps. Feels like a long time no see. Haven't seen you since after the Monday Night National Championship football game. In the interim, though, I have been enjoying a true snowpocalypse. I've never seen anything like it. As South Louisiana got like 8 inches more in some areas of legitimate snow. It was one of the coolest experiences of my entire life. I'm so grateful for it. It was an awesome couple of days. And so I'm just getting back into the swing of real life. Aaron, what's up with you, man? What's going on?
How many inches did you guys get?
I don't know for sure. And sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm tweeting out links real quick.
I guess enough to make a snowman?
Bro, no, that's no, see, so that's kind of what I'm getting at here, right? Not like this was not this was not like a little snow. It was like a legitimate, like there's still snow everywhere outside right now. 2 days later. Like
so
it
like 4 or 5 inches.
Got it. No, I'd say probably closer to 6 to 8. I know, like I got like a full foot. Like it was like a true like borderline flood rain event that just happened to time up with
damn.
That just happened to time up with the freeze. It was incredible. I meant to tweet out some pictures so I could just share them here on stream, but instead I'll just raw dog it and hold up my phone to the camera here. But like, I mean, look,
we didn't get a lot of snow this go around. We got a little bit. It was mostly just ice.
This,
shit.
Chilling.
Damn, that's a lot. You got more snow than we did the first go around.
Chilling in the driveway, drinking beers, cooling in the freaking snow. Watch this. I mean, look at this. This is my street.
Holy.
Yeah. We can't even see the street anymore. I mean, really stuck. It was, I've never experienced anything like it. And to see it in South Louisiana, like my boy Devin Snow tweeted that New Orleans too. It's like dressing up New Orleans in a pretty dress. Like everything just looks so nice.
What looked nice was Tiger Stadium.
It looked fucking badass. How about there's pictures from, NOLA was 8 inches, says there's people in. There's pictures from, what is it? There's pictures from space, from like satellites, and the entire Gulf of Mexico is covered in white. It's unlike anything. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. The entire Gulf of America is covered in white. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. Guys, that's a Roman salute. Calm down, dude. Good God.
Oh my God. What was he doing?
It's so fucking stupid. Again, I get it. I get it. I'm not, like, I know Elon was not doing Nazi salute, okay? What I'm saying is, though, all you other people are just as dumb who are sitting up there, like, surprised that people are going to run with that and take it that way.
Yeah,
you can't do a Roman salute. You can't use a swastika, right? Like, actually, did you know it's actually a symbol of peace? Which it was. Like, that is true.
Then he ruined it.
That was a Roman salute. The swastika was a symbol of peace. But what the fuck are we talking? Like, let's be intellectually honest when we have these conversations. Yes. Gulf America, hell yeah, though.
Gulf America.
Look, here's the first ever snowman we've ever built.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's weird. So I realize now how much snow is like ice, how much snow is like sand. Where you know how when you build something out of sand, you can't use the dry stuff. You got to use the wet sand. In that same way,
good packing snow.
Yeah, like you got to use like the street snow, the roof snow. And then the second day, I did that thing where you make a little ball and you roll it. And I felt like I was in a cartoon because it literally just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a Katamari Damacy ball.
Push it down the hill and just
Yeah, it was insane.
Good for the kids. Good for the kids.
All right, one more video. This was the morning after the snow.
Did you piss in the snow? Did you piss in the snow?
Like 17 times. I was drinking all day. But look how beautiful this is. This was the day after, sunlight beating down and still just snow and ice.
When's the last time it snowed in Louisiana?
7 years. And then it was like a light dusting. You know, it stuck around for a minute, but it was mainly just muddy and bullshitty. But like, look at this. All right, last one for real this time. This was the neighborhood scene. Kids everywhere,
Dogs
everywhere, dad's drinking. We got a fire going. It was awesome.
Love that.
Sorry, I'm texting one of my friends. You saw the text malpractice come across. I'm texting one of my friends about the absolute joke that is LSU former defensive coordinator Matt House, as Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, and Jayden Daniels were all nominated for NFL Rookie of the Year.
What Jayden Daniels has done this season, I know everyone said it, but I'll jump on the bandwagon, is the greatest season I've ever seen from a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, even my dad the other day called me, and I know my dad really watched NFL, and he's like, who's this Jayden Daniels kid? He's like, this guy looks like a fifth-year NFL vet. I mean, just poised. Nothing rattles him. The composure in the pocket, everything, and then obviously his throwing ability, what he's done from the last year at LSU to now carrying that over to the NFL. I mean, my God.
It's it poise is the word. So calm, so cool, so collected, always smiling, so chill. Have you ever read about his VR training and how he credits that for really helping him take the leap?
I read the article. Does he speed it up too, where he has to process even faster? Is what I was reading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I knew they had didn't they have a VR room in LSU?
Well, they had a walkthrough room, but this was something different. They have a walkthrough room with a giant screen, but this was I don't know how the original contact got made, but Jack Marucci, fascinating character. Okay, he was my head LSU athletic trainer when I was there. You've probably, if you're enough of a baseball fan, have heard of Marucci bats. Yeah, because they came out of nowhere. They took over the majors. Well, Marucci bats is from Jack Marucci, who he's so talented and so much. He's like a scientist. His kid was playing baseball, and he was like, "Oh, I want to design my kid a bat." And then he just got obsessed with it. And the next thing you know, he's making Manny Ramirez the curse breaker 23s, the very bats that he uses to finally break the curse and lift a World Series trophy for the Red Sox. Like, it's an unbelievable story. Well, he ended up becoming LSU's director of innovation. And somehow he got in touch, and I still haven't tried it out. I need to go do it one day. But somehow he got in touch with a German couple who were developing this VR system for football, and LSU kind of became ground zero as they developed it in tandem. You know, they really worked with it.
I remember doing it. I was with the Cardinals for a little bit, and Palmer would do it every morning. He'd get on the VR headset.
So maybe one of the differences here is, and every program is going to be a bit bespoke, right? Yeah. But I know that this one, I thought that one of the cool things was they would mock up the stadiums in the game even so that you would know exactly where the play clock was.
Yes. So they went above and beyond. So the way they did it, and Zach in the chat said they finally found a good use for VR. I've found other good uses for VR. So this is not the only good one.
But can we also say there's nothing more shameful than a post VR nut clarity? Like, post-nut clarity in general is pretty bad because it's so intensive. It's so all in. It feels like you're some fat incel off of a dystopian sci-fi movie. Like, I agree. It's insane, but I do not like the feeling afterwards.
You don't feel good about yourself afterwards.
No, I feel awful. Anyway.
Okay, so what they would do, I guess this is the OG version for football, is they would get a long stick, put cameras on it from every different angle, and it would go right behind the quarterback. So it would only be during practice. So it would be right behind the quarterback. So it's essentially filming practice from the quarterback's perspective, and then the quarterback can then go back, put on the VR goggles, and redo the practice. So you're doing your plays versus scripted defense. So that's what it was. So this way is obviously very different because you're not.
Sorry, go ahead.
One, it's going in the stadium, and then two, reading from Jayden was saying it was just like a bunch of base coverages. So you get like a variety of cover 3, a variety of cover 2, a variety of man, your basic blitzes. Like, I don't think it is as detailed as a scout team running the blitzes that you're actually going to see in a few days.
Well, but it is that detailed though. But the difference is you're just watching practice from a different angle. This is completely customizable. You can make the defenders do whatever you want them to do.
Interesting.
So it is, so you can, again, you can do like whatever you think they are going to do. You can recreate that. You're not, because like, let's say you were in the middle of it, how you were doing it watching practice, you couldn't go be like, hey, run that back, but this time, instead of the corner blitz, like have him show it and then back off. Right? This you could. But apparently, he gets in there with his game plan and they speed it up to, I think, like 1.5 times kind of simulation. And it kind of sounds like the mental equivalent of putting donuts on your bat when you're on the on-deck circle, and then you take them off and all of a sudden you're swinging faster. And again, if you think that I'm making too much of this, definitely probably true. I think there's a lot of people that are hopping on this bandwagon, but it is Jayden himself who credits it for being one of, if not the main factor.
What's the biggest thing in life? It's all about reps.
Leap. Yeah.
Life is all about reps. If you can steal reps, especially without having to physically do some of it to the point of like, you're hurting your body or you're out there getting tackled, but to be able to, as a quarterback, read defenses, because that's the hardest part, is you're learning a new language, you're learning new concepts. Why is Tom Brady the greatest quarterback of all time? He's played so many games, he's seen it all. You could never surprise him. This is Jayden playing catch up. This is him instead of getting, because NFL, you install plays. So Tuesday you install first and second down. You're not really repping those plays again the rest of the week, maybe one or two more times. So you rep one play maybe 3 times the entire week. You walk through them a little bit, but that's all you do. That's all you do. So now you can get that same play, instead of repping it 3 to 5 times, you can rep it 40 times against a variety of defenses in about 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah. That's invaluable.
It is invaluable, and it's a very cool use and evolution of technology. And if you want to taste it, if you have a Oculus Quest, or if you have any headset, there is the NFL Red Zone game, I think is what it's called. I bought it and messed around with it a couple of years ago, and it is a very, very kind of low-tech version of this. But even I was kind of shocked with how interesting it was, because you're playing quarterback, and I'll be like, okay, over defense, Mike 53. You could see these base level things. I was like, that's that's pretty fun. Cool. It would have been great for picking up blitzes, like as a center. You would absolutely love to get that. So it's cool, man. It's cool. I shout out Jayden Daniels, probably going to be, will be.
Oh shit. Will be. There's no if about it. Yeah. He will be the rookie of the year. Yeah. I hope they fucking win.
It'd be cool. Jalen Hurts looking like he may be a little hot. How about that? Jalen Hurts, Jayden Daniels, LSU, Alabama here in the NFC Championship. And on the other side, Mahomes and Allen. Are you shitting me? Good God.
Hopefully does better numbers than college football.
Well, so here we arrive at the title and the thumbnail. And I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation to have. Because, Aaron, what did you titled this show? College Football Playoffs Were a Bust. ESPN numbers some of the lowest in playoff era. Maybe a bit of a wordy title there. We probably could have said a bust. But, okay, let's start with that base level question.
Yes.
Do you think the 12-team playoff was a bust?
I enjoyed it. So for me personally, I would say no. And I know if you add up all the numbers, I've seen your notes. If you add up all the numbers, it's better.
Oh, look at that, guys.
But like on a game by game basis, numbers don't lie. It was not as successful as maybe there. I mean, we are all hoping like this first 12-team playoff, the excitement. I mean, hell, I was at Ohio State tailgate the morning of the national championship, talking to all these Ohio State fans like, man, everyone's so excited about this game. And Ohio State's the #1 fan base in America. Notre Dame's the #2 fan base in America. This game's going to do monster numbers for ESPN. And then we get there and it's the third lowest one that they've had in the playoff era.
Well, so this is where things get a bit interesting, right? And, there's the old saying, actually, I don't know what the old saying is, but how people talk about how like stats are kind of funny because you can kind of massage numbers to make them tell the story that you wanted to. Well, okay, so the College Football National Championship averaged 22.1 million viewers.
Yep.
It peaked at 26 early in the game. Obviously, the game flow did not help. Had that been a great game into late, it could have peaked. It could have pushed to 30. Who knows? But average 22.1 million viewers. To your point, third lowest viewership since 2014 for a title game. And a 12% decrease from last year's Michigan-Washington title game. However, it did not air on ABC. It was going toe-to-toe with the inauguration day. which I know took place or technically earlier in the morning, but a lot of people stayed on their news channels 24/7. But beyond that, here's the other numbers. It's also the 5th most watched title game since the BCS started in 1998. It's the most watched non-NFL event since last year's Super Bowl. It's only the second time in the last 5 years that the national championship game has been the most watched game of the season. So it did crescendo. Yep. It was the most watched the entire year. And then how about this? You mentioned the 12-team playoff as a whole. The Rose Bowl had 21.1 million viewers. You had the most watched Cotton Bowl ever. You had the second most watched Orange Bowl ever. And then again,
but from the numbers of the semifinals averaged 19.2 million, which is a 17% decline from a year ago.
From the but I just told you that the Rose Bowl had 21-1. It was the most watched Cotton Bowl ever and the second most watched Orange Bowl.
I'm just saying from a total though, the semifinals were a 17-point decline from a year ago.
Well, these were the quarters. Were these games the quarters, the Rose Bowl and whatnot, or were they the semis? I think they were the quarters, right? Because that would have been Georgia and Notre Dame. So sure, semifinals took a step back, but quarters took a huge forward. And here's what you can't lose sight of. And again,
still 16.9.
Bust or not, I'm not a good person to ask because, like you, this is how I make my money. I'm completely biased. I love college football, and I enjoyed watching every game and reacting to every game with y'all on here. But the thing you have to consider is, while definitely they will look at these numbers and say, why did this happen? And try to adjust things with the calendar and everything else to maximize numbers. It cannot be a failure because of the volume of ads that were created to be able to sell because you just had more games. Here's the final line. Here's the final. And I was wondering this, and I'm reading the Awful Announcing article, and here's the final line. Quote, important to consider that increased inventory throughout the entirety of the playoff more than made up for any diminished title game viewing the network experience. So again, if it makes more money, categorically, it cannot be considered a failure.
But why, from a number standpoint, though, from an eyeball standpoint, because this is all about numbers, it's about viewerships, and they want to drive more money. The goal would be like, okay, we have the inventory, we made more money, but if we add even more eyeballs to it, then we make even more money.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the goal. So that's what you try to do now.
But why was it down?
Because it went on too long. The timing. I think everything we said.
I don't think it had nothing to do with the playoffs for too long. I think the fact that it started so late is the problem.
Yeah. Well, and then you're and because of the NFL, you're not doing a week between games. You're doing 9 days, 10 days, or random. Also, you're talking about. I mean, when did the quarters go toe to? No, that would have been in the middle of the week. But you're talking about going, after a full weekend of divisional round games, where people are watching a ton of football. I mean, the cumulative eyeballs I read on divisional round games could be greater than that of the Super Bowl. And so is there a bit of football fatigue by Monday night? And then the game gets 31-7, peaking at 26 early. So like if that game continues to be exciting, the average goes up, everything goes up. So I think
could you do, let's find a way to make this better. I've talked about, eliminating, maybe conference championship games, going right into the playoffs right after the regular season, just hit play. Could you move the season up 2 weeks, start in the middle of August, which you get then 2 to 3 weeks of just college football without any NFL? You own it, which is great. That's more money right there. And then the season would end then beginning of November to middle of November. And then you start the playoffs then. Playoffs are over by mid-December.
Yeah, that, again, I think that would make a lot more sense. I don't know the solution, but I think there are plenty of things that you could workshop here. I think ideally, you want to end the games like a week after the January 1st games. If you could have your semifinals be for New Year's, I still think that's a really good thing for college.
I do agree, like going toe to toe with the NFL. Like, how can we get the games to be on every Saturday, not a Tuesday, not a Friday, not a Monday? Like,
The college football
season
playoff
ends.
director and Roger
Games
Goodell.
on Saturday for 3-4 weeks. Bam, 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 bam. We know it's going to be on a Saturday, which is better days than a random ass weekday or a Monday night.
The word on the street is that Goodell and the CFP are working together to, find amenable solutions for both parties. But I don't know how true that is.
Goodell doesn't need to do anything.
A lot of people saying the product sucked. I
disagree. I thought the games were entertaining, especially after the first round. But the NFL first round games sucked too.
Now, one thing we do need another good national championship sometime. We have not had one since 2017, excuse me. That was the overtime Georgia-Alabama game in which y'all's hearts were broken. Outside of that, it's been huge double-digit wins every single year since. Like, actually, did you know this?
I don't know. Georgia, Alabama, Georgia's first.
Still 33-15. It wasn't that close. Stetson made a big play at the end. It was maybe a bit closer than 33-15, but it wasn't that close.
You mean there's a pick six late in the fourth quarter that essentially sealed it, but that game was close the entire time.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. So if you take that, well, whatever, just going by final scores, this would have been the closest game since this was the closest final to just reinforce the point that we have not had a good national championship in a very long time now. This was the closest final since the 17-18 season.
Jeez.
It was about 7 years. And this game that you just witnessed, in which many people thought was a blowout and pretty boring, it was actually the closest final score. I do agree with you that game flow wise, I think you're right. The Alabama-Georgia rematch was probably a better game than this one was. Grant Rabley says volume of commercials hurts viewership. No, I mean, I disagree. Look at the NFL,
But at least those commercials, like we turn to Super Bowl to watch the commercials too.
Yeah, so but not the playoffs.
John, I think they should start the season a week earlier and get a conference championship game so it ends on New Year's Eve day. I like that. I agree.
I will continue to pound the table. And you don't want to end on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve ratings are always bad compared to January 1st.
Around that time. I
will continue to pound the table for the 14-team playoff, and specifically the version that Joel Klatt is pushing now. Where on championship weekend and the SEC and the Big Ten, number 1 and 2 would play for a bye in each conference, but both teams are already in. 3 and 6 would play for a playoff spot, and 4 and 5 would play for a playoff spot. It gives you a full day of massive inventory. Nobody gets a rest advantage, and you have multiple playing games. It basically starts the tournament a week early. I think it sounds pretty badass.
What about moving the Army-Navy game to the beginning of the season?
No, I mean, I think that needs to be on a cold weather weekend.
But do they deserve to have that? Do we need to have a weekend for that game and push the playoffs back? I just, we talk about the calendar. I love the troops. We talk about the calendar and the mess that it is with the transfer portal and kids having to make a decision. Do you play in a game? If you're a playoff team, do you have to go get ready for the NFL or get ready to hit the portal and go somewhere else? If you moved everything up, you could keep the portal end of December, beginning of January, and be able to get all the games in still. Like if the season ended end of December, you could have the portal open for 2 weeks beginning of January. Kids could then transfer in time to start a new semester.
I still think
stay on their roster.
The only issue is you don't want one game on New Year's. You want multiple games on New Year's, ideally, and spread out amongst you like 3. You want 3 on New Year's because that'll make you the most money.
It doesn't have to be a
I think you do semis New Year's Day, and then you go final the week after, be the premiere.
Like this year. I mean, New Year's is on a Wednesday, Thursday. The game should be on the 3rd, January 3rd.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you're talking about ending the season on New Year's.
No, like around that time, and end of December, first weekend of January, season national championship. We're done. We now have a 2-week period where the portal opens. I could be transferred by mid to January.
In my opinion, you just need to push back. You need multiple games on New Year's Day. The 1 game New Year's Eve, 3 games New Year's Day is a really good money-making setup. But, I mean, think about it. New Year's Day is tied in with watching college football day.
I know.
And always has been.
I mean, maybe you load up some of your best bowl games that day.
The 12-team playoff is flawed. Wait, hold on. Let me see. 12-team blows. Expanding playoff kills the regular season even more. It's like we said, I think it kills some games at the tippy top. like a Michigan, Ohio State, but it also makes infinite games, or not infinite, but it also makes many more games matter more. So there's definitely a trade-off.
I would love to know the numbers for the season, because I do feel like this was the most entertaining regular season, even if the postseason numbers weren't great. But like going to your point, from a consumer, the 12 weeks, 14 weeks, whatever it was, with all the buys, was the best 12, 14 weeks of college football that I've experienced, regardless of how I feel about the playoffs.
Yeah, it was.
And Spooky Myers, I disagree. No one cares about regular bowl games. Regular bowl games did terrific numbers.
Yeah, they had the best record viewership. The regular.
I was on two of them that we both of them set records for.
Well,
for
that's
that
just because you were on the call, Boo Boo.
Yeah, of course. People love seeing me eat mayonnaise.
Yeah, I just wanted you to I wanted you all to do a mayonnaise kiss swap. You have very squirts of mayonnaise in your mouth, and you'll make out with it. I'm into that. That's what I watch.
That's what TBob watches on his VR.
On the VR, exactly.
Yes, ChatGPT, make a mayonnaise covered Aaron Murray and his co-host and
Smash Numbers is very upset, and I love him. He's a loyalist to the show. He's our guy. He's a Michigan fan. So I was going through some things as Michigan's title just got cucked by Ohio State not a year afterwards. Now they still have the ultimate bragging rights for beating them, sure, but it kind of rings a bit hollow. He says, if the fourth place team in the Big that loses to its rival wins the title, the regular season and conference title games do not matter. I understand that sentiment, but the counter would be, does the NFL regular season matter? And if you say no, fine. That's all well and good. But no, it does. It's all a journey to a national championship. And so, again, it matters in different ways than it used to. And the stakes in a like Ohio State, Michigan are lessened. But again, the stakes in choose a million games featuring 2 lost teams this year, in which it was like, if you win, you continue on. If you lose, you're out. Like, again, so we're the ultimate example of this. We're the 9-7 Giants any less of Super Bowl champions after beating the 17-0 Patriots?
No.
And they were 9-7.
Yep.
Had to go through the wild card. Mm-hmm. And you had in just a wonderful life is stranger than fiction moment. I mean, you had the undefeated, trying to be the first undefeated team, and they were fucking David Tyree helmet catch away.
I know.
I mean, but does that make the Giants any less Super Bowl champions?
Nope. Makes them Giant Slayers. Super Bowl champs.
And I thought this was pretty interesting. So there's been a lot of Ohio State talk about how Ohio State, one of the greatest champions of all time, one of the greatest champions of all time. Now you really want to engage in some nuance? I believe Ohio State has the most insane final path to the championship. I believe that they are 100% the best team in football this year, very deserving champions.
Yep.
But it's like Star Wars, okay? We grant you the rank of champion, but you do not get a seat on the greatest teams of all time council due to your 2 losses.
No.
But this is what you see in this screen I just shared?
I guess we're all looking at it. If they would have been Michigan, now let's just play the hypothetical. They beat Michigan. They were like double-digit favorites, supposed to blow them out at home. Better football team like that. If they did, though, where would you rank this Ohio State team?
The big if there is what happens in the Oregon rematch. Do they beat Oregon?
Same shit happens.
Championship? Well, but they would have been in the Big Ten championship, so that would have been the difference. I know. So it does. The butterfly effect kicks in really quick here. Let's play with their 1-loss Big Ten champions avenging their Oregon loss. They win the Natty. I still think for most college football fans, the 1 loss will hold you out of the greatest team ever conversation. You could be the best 1-loss team ever, but you'll never get the undefeated.
We put Georgia 2021 in that because of that defense. But let's not forget they lost Alabama in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I know, but they were also behind all the undefeateds.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you want to put this Ohio State team over that Georgia team, sure, or well, maybe they whatever. Look at this. So here's like the AP top 25 from I think the final week of the season.
I'll also say I would say no too, because I also don't think that there was a lot of great football teams in college football this year either.
Yeah, that's fair, but that almost always is the case when you have a
but there's
standout team.
I mean, every team we talk about all year long, and it's just the way it is nowadays. But every team on there had massive flaws.
But here you go. You look at this. This is the top 25 from the final week of the season. They beat the number 1 team, Oregon, 41-21. They beat the number 3 team, Notre Dame, 34-23. They beat the number 4 team, Texas, 28-14. They beat the number 5 team, Penn State, 20-13. So 4 out of the top 5 right there. Then they're at 6. Then they beat the number 7 team, Tennessee, 42-17. The number 19, Indiana, 38-15. Which, by the way, put some fucking respect in Indiana's names, you nerds, okay? They were fucking good this year.
They were good.
Look at the 2 teams they lost to, national championship teams. Anyway, also the Big Ten was fucking good. The Big Ten finished 5-1 against the SEC. The Big Ten finished a 3-point Mizzou win away from being 6-0 against the conference at all levels. The tippy top, the middle,
hey,
whatever.
Put some respect on Missouri, then, asshole. You talk shit about the Tigers all year.
I mean, it was a weird year for them. They ended up with a nice win total, but like, what the fuck happened to Brady Cook? No one will ever know.
Were they 10-3? Was that the final for them?
Yeah, which
wild.
is massive for them to finish at 10 wins again, especially with how dead in the water they looked at times. So look, Ohio State's awesome, but I don't think they're one of the greatest teams ever. But I do think they have the hardest path ever. I mean, the run of Tennessee.
They're the most deserving. Did you say they're the most deserving national champion?
Yeah, I would say that because nobody else has ever been asked to run a gauntlet like that.
By far the most, and do it in the Big Ten, which is we've now seen was the best conference in America this year.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So let's talk high level takeaways then. What this college football season taught us, because first,
buy a championship.
Exactly. First and foremost is if you want to win big, yo ass better spin big.
Yeah, boy.
Because like it's in, I've talked about LSU, right? I know for a fact that LSU came in with about $5 million on this roster. And going into the year, they're patting themselves on the back, thinking, ooh, we're lean, we're mean, we're efficient. Like we gonna be good while not spinning. We're bargain binning and we're still gonna have success. Well, you got $5 million results. Look at everybody that made the playoffs, and then look at Ohio State, the team that was the poster child the entire offseason for an exorbitant amount of investment in this team. And what did it result in? A national championship. So if you thought spending was crazy before, just wait until you realize the lessons that have been learned and calcified this year. Oregon went undefeated, won the Big Ten championship. What did they do? Spend 20 mil. Texas made the SC championship, lost to Georgia, was probably the second, third best team in the entire country. What did they do? Spend 20 mil. How much did Georgia spend? 12?
Somewhere around there.
15? That seems to be the more.
I would say about 10 to 15. Oh, I mean, listen, SEC schools are just a bunch of poor boys compared to the Big Ten.
But the point is, yeah, it's like, okay, if you needed any more proof, like I'm going to be fascinated to see the ripple effects of this season and just how clearly it laid out that you just got to spit.
What did Ryan Day do? I mean, Ryan Day said, listen, you want to win a championship, give me a little bit more money, I'll go do it. What did Ole Miss try to attempt this offseason? Raise a bunch of money and build a roster. And I still think they're one of the most talented rosters out there. They just weren't unable to win a couple games they probably should have won. But that's the name of the game. If you've tasted success a little bit or have gotten close, what's the next thing you need? You just need a little bit more money to go out there and get another top guy, to get another top recruit, to get another to get the best defensive player in the portal, to get the best running back in the portal.
Go get you. Hey, why doesn't Kirk Herbstreit say Judkins' name right?
What does he say?
Junkins. You never notice that? Every single time.
Shit, I'm seeing NFL scouts talk about him as being like the next Gibbs. First round draft pick.
Bro, how could he? He's so good in the red zone.
I know.
He's so fast.
Catch.
I mean, you got Travion Henderson.
You got the best running back, one of the best running backs. He may go number one running back, best defensive player, best receiver, all new to your team this year.
Yeah, exactly. And that put you over the top. You finally were able to finish the fight.
Yep.
And again, I know we said it after national championship reaction show, but if you didn't listen, let's just please take a second and appreciate the unreal amount of pressure with which Will Howard operated under this year.
Yep.
The burden that he assumed of the largest fan base in the country, the most investment in the country, all put onto his shoulders. You have to follow through, and he was perfect in the title game. Lars says Parody's fucking the SEC currently. I mean, I don't know. I disagree, right? Like, Parody has nothing to do with the bowl games. Are they played out? Why did A&M lose to a USC team that had way more opt-outs? Why did Alabama lose to a Michigan team that had way more opt-outs? Like, I don't think that this parody idea holds a ton of water with how everything ended up.
What do you think Kyle McCord's stats were a year ago that weren't good enough? For Ohio State.
Okay, so pretty late in the season, I read an athletic article that was showing that basically Will Howard and McCord's stats were like essentially the same at the time. So I'm guessing they are strikingly similar.
Well, I'm just saying from a standpoint of like, you come into a situation, back to your narrative here, you come into a situation where the quarterback a year before threw for 66% completion, 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And that was deemed completely unacceptable, and you're asking us to go find a new home.
Yeah, I know. And that's what Will Howard stepped into.
Yes.
That's the insane pressure cooker that he stepped into. And you can say he had the better team, sure, whatever, but he was perfect.
You want to hear stats this year?
Datsko says, oh, yeah, give me his stats this year.
I think this is including playoffs, but
it has to be
4,000 yards, 73% completion, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, plus another 7 rushing touchdowns.
8 rushing first downs in the game Monday.
Yeah.
How the fuck did Joe Burrow throw 60 touchdowns? Datsko says, according to On3, LSU spent $20.1 million to Ohio State's $20.2. Where are you guys getting the $5 million number at? Texas and Oregon spent more than Ohio State. Georgia spent $18.2. So I would say as far as LSU goes, I do, I live here. I do an LSU show, or I do a Louisiana show. Like, I have plenty of context. I know exactly what they spent. There was not a player making more than $500,000 on last year's team. So I no, it's just that 20 number is absurd. And so I don't know what, maybe On3's doing a valuation based on what they think the market and the roster would be worth next to each other. But no, those numbers are absurd.
You say get that from On3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, On3 does not know those stats. That's them just projecting what a player's worth and then building that number, not what they're actually paid. That's all they do.
Troy V says McCord was inconsistent with no pocket presence. Howard was a great pocket presence and knew how to navigate said pocket. I wonder if we say the same thing had he not finished the national championship trench run, right? If this ends without a title,
but also let's not forget.
I wonder.
Let's also not forget that Kyle McCord was a first-year starter. Will Howard had played multiple seasons. So, and look at what Kyle McCord did this year at Syracuse.
Yeah, no, McCord. Yes.
Second year playing college football. Always better year 2.
Fascinating aspects of this national championship was Riley Leonard, a Duke transfer, and Will Howard, a Kansas State transfer, going toe to toe with a ring on the line, and both playing well.
Yeah,
Riley Leonard ended up really doing more with his arm. Like, if you would have told me that Notre Dame would rush for 50 yards. I would have told you that there was a 0% chance in hell they were even close to covering, and yet they should have covered. That's good. Says, I wonder where everyone got those numbers. It seems everyone just throws them out there. That is fair. That's completely fair. I only feel super confident reporting on the LSU numbers because I know for a fact. And as far as Ohio State goes, there's been very good reporting in the Athletic and by a lot of J journalists about the numbers that were invested therein. I love On3. But I don't even think they would claim those numbers to be 1,000% accurate. What was it?
No, definitely not.
Wait, shit. What were we just talking about a second ago? Oh, this is funny. Drunk Vigo. Snow in Louisiana is God showing Big Ten dominance. There you go, dude. I mean, the Big Ten rules college football now.
Did Hester get back in time? Did he get to enjoy it?
No, it's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. His poor wife. He has 5 kids. He
Oh.
was the national championship Monday night, and he got completely stuck. The pictures he was sending from the airport were something akin to Dante's fourth circle of hell. He flew to Jackson. He flew back. He later flew to Shreveport. All the roads are shut down. He was stuck in Shreveport as of this morning. Only God knows where he might be. And
He's still stuck.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. So his poor wife's had 5 kids, all time there, and you know, and the most depressing.
He's so fucked when he gets home. I feel bad for him. My wife would chop my balls off.
You know, it's not. I don't think he's gonna be fucked by her. She's a beast and she's used to it. But I just feel bad for him, man, because this is truly a once in a lifetime event, and to not get he's a big family man, and to not get to do this with your family is just fucking heartbreaking. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I'm already sad because I know I'll die without ever experiencing this again. Unless just we can
the kids on a trip. It's
not the same. You know, your home, your bed, looking out your windows, your kitchen.
It'd be nice when my kids actually we enjoyed the snow the first go around for about an hour and a half with just my son.
Yeah.
But after that, it was like, all right, we're inside the rest of the day.
We were out there all day. The only time we had to go in, we kept having to go in to change leggings because we don't have snow pants. So I had a fire going, and I would just hang the old leggings by the fire, switch them out, and get back out there. I was playing Ice Knight, where they were the Snow Queen and the Snow Princess, sitting there battling the elements, fighting for our fucking lives. It was awesome. It was awesome.
I love it. Good for you guys. Good for you.
Daniel says, we'll get another one of these once in a lifetime stores. Seems like there's a lot of them going around. Maybe so. Be smooth. So is the Big Ten considered the better conference now, or does the SEC pedigree still hold the title? I think if you are not saying that the Big Ten was the best conference this year, you are just being
ignorant,
willfully obstinate, and you better sharpen your debate knives because you have very simple metrics that people can use against you. Maybe the one thing that you could say would be once you look at draft picks in the upcoming draft. I still imagine that the SEC will win that, but outside of that, the teams were not as good.
No. Nope, not at all. Speaking of on 3, you want to go to these top quarterbacks?
Oh yeah,
I'd love to pick this shit apart because this is
transition.
This is just as
I saw this and I could
so bad.
You know how Obi-Wan
Who picked this?
You know how in Obi-Wan they destroy Alderaan and Obi-Wan's like, I just felt a great disturbance in the Force. Yeah. I saw this list and I could feel you getting one of those rage erections where you're so angry that you get super hard. I knew you'd want to take on this. So this is on 3's top 10 impact quarterbacks. Now, I read the article. They never really explained what they meant by impact quarterback. Here's the opening of it. This is by Thomas Goldkamp. Every year in college football, one of the biggest changes to the overall outlook comes thanks to the quarterback position. Which players return, where, and which new arrivals could star is a key component of the offseason evaluation. So, who are the top quarterbacks in 2025? On 3 put together a list of the On 3 impact top 25 quarterbacks in college football. The ranking takes into account a blend of proven production and potential based on skill set. And number 1 on the list, your guy, Air Murray, Sam Levitt. How about it, dude?
Oh, I mean, I like the guys on this list. I just absolutely disdain the order in which they're put in there. Makes no sense in hell to me at all. And I like Sam. Don't get me wrong. I think Sam deserves to be on this list, but he would be way towards the bottom of this list for me. Way towards the bottom.
Well, obviously him being at the top is probably a bit bold to drive engagement.
Yes.
But also,
I think him at 1 and then Arch at 4 are my biggest. No.
If you wanted to engage in the hype, you could argue Levitt was doing this as a redshirt freshman full-time starter. So he's got much more experience than
with Scadaboo, who will not be there next year.
But they will have investment. We never did the billionaires in college football segment here, did we? Mm-mm. We talked about Ohio State being funded by one of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile friends, Les Wexner. But Arizona State has a billionaire. Let me look it up. So, like, with the monetary investment created and having a young coach and a young quarterback, which there's no better way to open up a pocketbook, like Arizona State should be able to replace talent. Also, they've been really leaning into the what you call it? Oh, the transfer portal last couple of years. So I'm just saying, Levitt, first-year starter, more experience in Arch, put up very good numbers, got better as the year went on. Now
if we're talking about just pure talent, I think DJ is the most talented of anyone on this list. Lagway, you know how I feel about him. I think Lenoris and what he did this year as a first-year starter far outweighs what Sam Levitt did as a first-year starter. Would you agree with that one? Levitt to me was more impactful than Sam Levitt and a better overall.
Lenoris was more impactful than Sam Levitt. Yeah,
I would put Cade above Sam Levitt too. I thought Cade this year was absolutely terrific.
I don't know if I'll go Cade, even though I would think he will be great.
Cade had a great fucking year.
I know.
He's gonna have even a better year too next year.
I think I was just going to make an argument that maybe the overall potential of Levitt's higher, but that doesn't really matter because this list is supposed to be for next season.
I think Cade will probably have better talent around him next year. I would put him above too. I think DJ. I think Lagway could fight for one. I think Lenoris needs to be top 4.
Where would you put Aller? Where are you at on Aller?
I like Aller. I think Aller's at. I like Aller too. Yeah. I like Aller. Aller had he did not have a great playoff. Let's be honest about that. Just was not a great playoff. I thought he had massive improvements over the entire football season. I thought he had a really good game against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. I like Drew Aller. I think another year in the system next year, I think he's going to be fighting for a top 10 quarterback or top 10 pick in the NFL draft come next season. So I like Drew kind of in that 1-2 spot. No doubt about that. Okay. I would move Cade Klubnik up. Cade showed me a lot this year.
So you're going Arch 1, Aller 2.
Definitely not Arch 1. Arch and Sam are in the bottom, somewhere around that 8 to 10.
Oh, okay. Well, then make your list then so I can write this down because you can do a graphic on this.
All right. Make my list from this list?
Or no.
Top 10. Are we going like top 10 quarterbacks from this list?
Impact quarterbacks. We'll just steal
top 10 impact quarterbacks. I will go DJ 1, Lenoris 2, Drew 3, Garrett 4, Cade 5, Carson 6.
Hold on. Sorry. I don't want to type in Klubnik. Okay. All right.
Nico 7.
That's interesting.
Arch 8.
You don't think that other quarterback showed more than Nico this year?
I think Nico showed a lot of good stuff. And I think Nico year 2 could he's too talented. You want to talk about just pure talent. Nico is one of the most gifted guys on this list. So I think year 2, we talk about like year 1 and year 2. I think he's going to have a big second year. Mateer, Levitt. Who else am I missing?
Arch. I mean, that's everybody from the list. Now let me look at the top 25 here. Because they did extend it. Hold on one second. All right, so they go Josh Hoover from TCU. Oh, I didn't even realize. I hadn't thought about Josh Hoover all year long. They have Hoover at 11, Taylon Green at 12, Eli Holstein at 13. I would like Eli Holstein to potentially break into the top 10.
I think Taylon Green could break in, possibly. That kid is super gifted, too.
Yeah, but he's got to play a little more mistake-free.
Yeah.
They have
Luke Altmaier still in college football?
Yeah, remember, he maybe had the biggest improvement year over year of anybody in the entire country.
I know.
He was awful last season.
I like the bottom. Maeva played really well down the stretch for USC. I think Miller Moss is going to have a really good year for Louisville. Dude, I keep hearing, because I was at that little tailgate for like all the top donors for Ohio State on Monday. They are raving about Julian Sayin. Raving about him.
Oh, really? The prince that was promised?
Yes.
Yeah. I really like Chat's mentioning Sawyer Robertson. You know, I like him where he's at 18, but he had a really good year for Baylor. Rocco Becht is somebody that, again, I came away very impressed with after the Big 12 championship. That motherfucker took a kill shot and still came back and delivered some dimes after that. Like, I don't think he's ever going to break too high on this list, but Rocco Becht will be one of the best quarterbacks in the country next year. How about Darian Minsa, the Tulane transfer that Duke paid a lot of money to, coming in at 16 on this list?
Yeah. Raiola, I feel like I have to say this every fucking year. Year one to year two. This dude was an 18-year-old having to take over Nebraska and all the pressures.
Yeah.
And had some really good moments. Showed a lot of swagger. So I think year two, I think you could see a nice jump from him. I don't like Diego up there at 14.
I mean, but he's not really going to be doing traditional quarterback play anyway. So it's kind of hard it's a bit tough to parse to parse where Diego should fall on a list like this. Like, where would you have put Riley Leonard this year, right? Huge value to his team, the perfect quarterback for his team, but I don't think he'd be in any top 10 quarterback in the country list.
No.
Sorry, I'm saying too much today. Oh, no Fernando Mendoza love. That is a little interesting, considering the success that Curtis Rourke had with Kurt Cignetti, that Fernando Mendoza coming over from Cal to Indiana, that he wouldn't be a bit up there. We'll be see. Big potential to break in 25. Bo Molinari, a resident Aggie. Marcel Reed's the number one quarterback. Now changed my mind. There you go, dude. Top 25 though, Aaron?
Yeah, I think you could flirt with it. 100%.
Aaron had Nuss at 4, Scott. And by the way, Nuss actually is basically 1 to 3 on every Heisman odds.
Yeah.
Early Heisman odds candidacy. So how about this? LSU, I refuse to pick them to win the opening game, but on paper, they should be good next year. And that first game is going to feature a top 10 Clemson team and a top 10 LSU team going toe-to-toe. And that is going to be fantastic to watch. We'll also get Texas, Ohio State week 1. Going to be insane. Where's Gunner? Says Chip Halverson. Remember, Georgia fans.
Gunner may not even be the starter. Let's just
you a bone. Gunner, the only quarterback. I guess until the Natty, to complete 60% of his passes against that Notre Dame defense.
Yeah, until Will Howard completed his first 14 passes in the game.
I know. National championship notwithstanding.
It was not long lived. I don't know if Gunner's going to be the guy, to be honest. I think there's a lot of excitement for Puglisi.
Of course. Rocket arm. Fuck Raiola.
I still
Somebody
like
get Brooks Austin in here.
Yeah.
We need a Puglisi film.
Get the big fat chooch in here.
We need the film guy in here since we can't do it anymore because Aaron's
not calling Brooks fat. I'm just saying the chooch is fat.
You I would say Brooks looks like he's moving in the correctest way when it comes to fatness. He seems to be getting slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah, he looks good. I'm talking about his chooch is fat.
You mean it's fatter than yours? And I know it makes you jealous. Now, I don't know if he can throw an out route with the timing that you can.
But he can launch a football as far as, he can throw it over the damn mounds.
Don't be jealous of the Chooch cannon, dude.
Oh, the Chooch cannon.
Hit the like button, guys, if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Twitter, if you want, we love having you on here. 2,000 on here. That's awesome. But we're desperately trying to get to 30K on the channel. So head over, just Google Snap CFB, find the YouTube channel, sub if you like it. There probably will be some schedule changes coming up to the show in the offseason. We got to kind of work all that out, but we're going to be here.
We can get back to gaming. I miss playing the game.
Do you really?
I do.
I do. See, guys, now this is like,
what? I can't say I miss playing the game.
Yeah, no, this is some baby back bullshit because you're the one specifically who shut it down because you thought it was fucking with the algorithm. True or false?
I was saying we can make a different channel, which you've talked about making other channels.
Yeah, which is fine, but that's a whole different conversation. I would love to get back to playing the game.
I would love to get back to gaming.
I'm in year 3 of that dynasty. I beat my little brother somehow. I just had Air Force
VR porn so much. I should play the game.
Just had Air Force ranked, but then I lost a tough game. The problem is I didn't know what the fuck I was doing on recruiting. I got fired after year 1, and so I'm just a year behind my entire league. So every single week I'm going against teams that are rated higher than me. But still very fun.
Is Kirby really going to start Puglisi over Gunner's experience in the playoffs? If he's the better quarterback, hell yeah, he'll start him.
Yeah, it's not going to come down to the playoffs and be like, oh, we're going to switch.
No.
I mean, it's crazy. Gunner did very well in that playoff game, but he does not have experience.
Yep.
He's got one game. How about this? The University of North Carolina, Bill Belichick finally signed his contract. And here is the photographic evidence that we have. Let's go to Tom Pelissero. He says, the University of North Carolina has released a redacted version of Bill Belichick's contract, which he signed Wednesday. You can clearly see below. If Belichick leaves, the buyout is $10 million prior to June 1st or $1 million thereafter. So not a big price tag if an NFL team really wants Bill Belichick to be their next head coach.
Raiders?
If Tom had his way, I don't see why not.
Would right? Tom though? I mean, Tom left his ass.
That's true. Maybe not. Maybe he's, I was winning despite you, not because of you. When in all honesty, it's obviously a collaboration. Anytime you go on a run like they did, that's,
Yeah, I agree with that one.
That is going to be the key.
I agree.
Or says Gunner has one game and one concussion to prove it. Yeah, he's 1 for 1.
He's got an epic run, one of the most epic runs in Georgia history to prove it. So he's got that. And according to Kirby, guys play harder for him. So that is something to take account.
He uttered that, dude. Oh my God. I'm feeling achy, guys. I'm feeling a little sick. I haven't been sick in a while. I hope this doesn't come about. My nipples are sore. When like your skin gets like very sensitive and even like the rubbing of this like Cosby sweater just kind of hurts. I don't like it.
Flu, COVID.
I don't know. My wife got knocked on her ass for 2 weeks by something that was neither flu nor COVID, but has been going around. And my God, I hope I do not get it. Oh. Is bird flu back?
I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out.
Your guess is as good as mine.
True that. Don't send it my way.
My favorite meme of the week is? Have you seen the video of 13-foot tall Barron Trump walking into the inauguration?
No.
They photoshopped him to make him look 13. And look, I'm someone who politically I'm very apathetic. In fact, most of y'all just call me a snowflake and a bitch all the time. And that's fine. I don't care. But I do find it, as a fan of history, fascinating to sit here and watch all this stuff from afar. And with Barron Trump, I cannot help but get the feeling of like a young prince that the small folk love, like that they're putting all of their hopes and dreams on. Like look at this motherfucker and the crowd pop that he got. Oh my God. He does kind of look like two people in the swim.
How big is he?
He's going to be like that look, that
little fucking smirk.
That smirk is a princely smirk. I've seen that on Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
that is Prince Rhaegar, without a doubt. Shout out to you if you know who Prince Rhaegar is. Wait, hold on. I got to find the meme though, because that was the. Here it is. Here we go. Here is Barron Trump walking into the inauguration.
Oh.
Okay. I hope everyone's having a great day. Joffrey, in my head, it's different than a Joffrey because the small folk never loved.
No, I hated Joffrey. How can we all hate Joffrey? I feel bad for whoever Joffrey is in real life because everyone fucking hated him.
It means he did a hell of a job acting.
He did. Yeah. Who's more hated, Joffrey or why am I drawing a fucking blank right now? Malfoy.
Oh, easily Joffrey. Malfoy's bad, but like Malfoy never does anything that bad.
True.
Malfoy doesn't extend beyond like a school bully throwing out racial slurs. That's kind of like the peak of Malfoy's badness.
Yeah.
Now Ramsey Bolton's getting up there. That's a good call by Burks for sure.
I didn't mind Ramsey Bolton. He's a little psycho. Entertaining.
Like Ramsey. I mean, he was a great bad guy. He was an elite.
He's a great bad guy. Yeah, but like Joffrey was just such a little fucking shit.
George says, I hated Jon Snow.
Power.
I fucking hate Jon Snow. You want to talk about a bitch that I don't want in the foxhole with me? This man professes to love Daenerys and then he murders her? What? After she's taken over the kingdom and brought what did he bring? He brought chaos. After everything we watched in Game of Thrones, you think everybody's just going to accept them making an all-seeing invalid their king? Everybody's just going to take that sitting down? Daenerys had established peace. She did it in a fucked up way. Yes, okay, but she could have actually ruled and led to an extended time of stability. And Jon Snow, who claimed to love her, fucking stabbed her out. And why her dragon did not kill him, I will never understand. I hate Jon Snow. He is a hoe and a traitor. John Ho, get the hell out of here. Oh, wait, hold on. We got one more thing. Sorry. I know you want to go. We got one more thing.
What do we got?
We just got to break the hearts of all the LSU fans.
Oh, yeah.
Listening real quick, because here is Nick Saban on The Pivot discussing the biggest mistake of his professional career.
Decisions. Are there any things that you look back on, Coach, and said you wish you had done differently throughout your career?
You ain't gonna like it when I say this, but I think sometimes you have to learn about yourself. And you might think things. When I left LSU, that was probably professionally the biggest mistake that I ever made. Not because we didn't have success in Miami, because I enjoyed coaching in Miami, but I found out in that experience that I like coaching in college better because you could develop players personally, academically, athletically, and all that a little more than in pro ball. Even though I love the status of coaching in pro football and the kind of guys you coached and you're coaching in the best league against the best players, I loved all that. So then I can't go back to LSU, go to Alabama, and no disrespect to Alabama. It's not Alabama versus LSU. It's just Jimmy Sexton stood on the balcony when I was getting ready to leave LSU and make a decision about whether I went to Miami or stayed at LSU. And he says, what do you want your legacy to be as a coach? Do you want to be Vince Lombardi or do you want to be Bear Bryant? And without hesitation, I said Bear Bryant. And he said, what are you doing going to Miami then? That's true. I don't know if I ever told that story, but that's the truth. We, outside of Skip Bertman's office, on the balcony, and I went anyway.
Hold up.
Shout out to The Pivot. What a good clip there. Very depressing for LSU fans. Now he did reawaken LSU, which LSU fans will always be happy for him, but that hurts a little bit. It's interesting though, because
I have heard though from this is mostly from LSU people about how much he loved LSU and Baton Rouge.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, again, it is from biased LSU people, but yeah, I mean, he took this team and he was a hero.
Oh, I know.
Amongst the people, he brought LSU back to the top. I think it's interesting though to hear him mention the status of being an NFL head coach, because I think that's something that we can all be guilty of chasing at times, is status maybe over worth what would make us like truly happy. Mm-hmm. And this certainly feels a bit like that, because he knew he wanted to be Bear Bryant.
Yep. And
yet he still went because he had to at least try.
Yeah, you have to at least dip your toe in. I mean, he said it's the best league in the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's the most competitive league in the world. Got to give it an opportunity.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Very fun show. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back. I guess no shows this weekend, right?
No.
First time in a while. We'll be back on Monday. We love you. Sub to the channel. Rate and review the pod if you want to help out the show in free ways. Hit the like button.